show you a few, just kind of give you the full gamut here. Top left is a very consistent shooter, 90% free throw shooter, Division III player, very good. Top right, this is about your high school average. And you can see a lot of variation here. The more variation you have in your arc here, the more variation you're going to have at the rim. So again, angle controlling the distance. Bottom left, a player shoots too high. Bottom left is a very flat shooter. Top left there's Manu Ginobili with the Spurs. Looks just like all the other great shooters we've tested, okay? Very consistent, everything deep in the basket. Another thing I want to point out here that's great is you can see here also how consistent the release is. So take a look at your arc plot. Look at your release. Many of you, especially if you've got upper body movement, and by that I mean when you come up, you tend to go back with your shoulders or back with your head. You will have more variation here than you should if you do that, okay? If you're shooting a free throw, you're locked into that one location. Every ball should launch from the same spot, right? And that's what you see here with Ginobili, very consistent. Bottom left here is Glenn Davis. This is Greg Oden when he was still in high school. Mike Miller here on the top right. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to show you a couple before and afters, then we're going to get a few kids out here and shoot. Here's the real issue with arc, okay? This is a player that played in the WNBA for 10 years. Christy Thomas played at University of Georgia. Here's the thing. Those of you that are, when you're shooting the basketball, you don't have any idea how high the shot went, okay? The person behind the basketball can't see it. Now when we bring kids out here to shoot, all of you are going to be sitting in the stands and you're going to have a perfect view and you can see and say, oh, boy, that's too flat, okay? Or that's too high. But the player behind the ball can't see it, okay? Now, first of all, if you want to be a great shooter, you better be locked in on the target. Don't even try to watch the basketball. But even if you did try to watch the basketball, all you're going to see is it go up in a line and down in a line. You have no idea how high the ball went, okay? I've said at many high school basketball games, and I've seen a kid walk out here and shoot, and it'll be just 38 degrees or something really flat. And you'll hear a parent or a coach or somebody say, he knows better than that, she knows better than that, but they really don't, okay? Again, the player cannot see their own shot. So I point this out. Here's Christy. Mark Price has a shooting lab in Atlanta now where he works with a lot of NBA and WNBA players in the off season. They have 2 NOAA systems in there. Christy comes in, first thing they say is, my gosh, Christy, we got to do something about your arc. She has a 36-degree arc, which is like Shaq level of flat, okay? Very, very flat. But here she is. I point this out to say, here's a player that had played in a great college program, played in the WNBA for 10 years, always had great coaching, and she still has a 36-degree arc. Okay, do you think someone's tried to get her to change that during her career? I guarantee you they have, and she was always a bad free throw shooter. Now here's Christy after 3 weeks of training at Mark Price's shooting lab. Look at the pattern here versus here, making 64%, 88%, okay? Just by changing her. Here's what happens. We all have something called muscle memory, okay? Her muscle memory said to shoot it right here at 36 degrees. Many of you have muscle memory that says shoot it right here at 53, 45, whatever, okay? You have to change that muscle memory, and you do that through the feedback we're going to talk about here. Next one here is the Division I player I mentioned, okay? 54 degrees, making 60%, spraying it from front to back. Here's that same player after 2 weeks of training. Look at his numbers now. 46-12, expert 3. He goes from a maker 3 to an expert 3 and 60% to 90%, okay? It's made a huge difference. And those of you that are in the 50s can get the same kind of results, okay? Absolutely can get the same kind of results. Here's a high school player, 57 degrees, okay? Shooting in the expert category, very talented player, but because she shoots the ball too high, this one's perfect, and look how she sprays it from the front of the rim to the back of the rim to every spot in between. That's what happens when you shoot the ball too high. Okay, now keep your eyes on the rim and see this same player. Look how much tighter everything is here versus here. Okay, and that's 68% versus 88, and that was just lowering her arc to 51. She got down to 45, she'd have been a master shooter. Okay, she had that kind of talent, but because she released it here, she never really reached her potential as a shooter. Okay, same thing here, 55 and 7. This is so common. Those of you that shoot too high tend to miss short. Now look at this. This is at 8:26. Here's this same player 3 minutes later. She was a very good athlete. She adjusted it immediately. Look at this pattern, 55 and 7, 6 out of 10 versus here. Look how tight and consistent that is there versus here, okay? Just by taking the release from here down to here where it should be, okay? Here's a player that has a pretty good average arc, but a lot of variation. Look at the same player after listening to the feedback. See how much tighter everything is there versus here, okay?